Novak Djokovic's season is over. The crocodile is done, and here is how this affects the rest of the ATP World Tour. So Novak Djokovic is out. He has said today that he's going to take the rest of the season off to let his elbow recover from his nagging injury that he's had for, he says, about a year and a half. So this is pretty big news, obviously, because he's one of the top three, not four, the top three, like I like to say. He's one of the greatest tennis players of all time, and he's been dominating the tour, except for the last, year, for a long time. So this is huge. So especially for Federer and Nadal, they're going to be able to play the entire 2017 season, which is both of their kind of comeback seasons after their injuries last year, without playing Djokovic one time, neither of them, which is crazy. Some people would say that has really helped their comeback, but I would like to say that they'd probably be doing that either way because they've been playing unreal right now, and it's hard for anyone to touch them, clearly. But anyways, they're not going to have to play Djokovic, and in their race to be world number one at the end of the year, Federer and Nadal are both in that race right now. Nadal is probably going to overtake Murray first, but the U.S. Open and the four majors that are left are really going to have a huge impact on that. But I think that one of the main things that's going to happen with Djokovic being out is that the tournaments are going to open up way more. And how this is going to happen is because there's 4 quarters to major tournaments, there's 4 quarters to any tournament, but in the tournaments like the Masters Series and the U.S. Open, there's 4 quarters, and so the top 4 players get each one are in each of the quarters, obviously. So the 4th ranked player in these tournaments will no longer be one of the big 4: Djokovic, Andy Murray, Federer, and Nadal. Andy Murray, I have different opinions on that, but anyways, the 4th ranked player won't be one of the top 4. So it's going to be one of the other guys in the top 10, who is Stan Wawrinka, Miran Cilic, Dominic Thiem, Kei Nishikori, Milos Raonic, and Grigor Dimitrov, all of whom are much less consistent historically than the big 4 have been. So lower ranked players, lower than the top 10, are going to have a much higher chance to get deep in tournaments because if they're in the quarter of the 4th ranked player, who's probably going to be one of the other top 10 guys now, they're going to have a much better chance to play someone who's on an off night or whatnot and get deep into the tournament. So this is going to be really good for players who have been maybe having a lull in their season but have a lot of potential. So the 3 players that I think who are going to step it up in this last few months of this season: Grigor Dimitrov. He had an insane start to the season. He played amazing. He won Brisbane, and then he lost in the semifinals to Rafael Nadal, as I'm sure you all remember. And he was playing really well. And then he had a pretty rough clay court season, kind of disappeared. But I think that he's going to play well on the fast hard courts of the U.S. Open Series and do well in those tournaments, especially with Djokovic out. And he's going to make a big improvement in his results. Dominic Thiem is also going to step it up because right now he's 3rd in the race to London. So he's acquired the 3rd most amount of points behind Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer this year on the tour. He's been playing tons of tournaments. He's going to step it up as well, I think, because he has the talent, he has the motivation, because he's driven. I can just tell that he's driven. He's not like other guys like Bernard Tomic, people who, like, Federer's called out a couple of people. Federer called out Joe Wilfried Tsonga and I think Gael Monfils and other guys like this who have always been in the top 10 for like the last 8 years but never really made that push to get past. I think Dominic Thiem's different. I don't think he's okay with just being a highly paid tennis player just touring the world and having a good time. I think he wants to dominate, and I think he's going to start doing that again in these next few tournaments. And then finally, Alexander Zverev is going to pick it back up. He won Rome back in May, I think, beating Djokovic in the final, played unbelievably. And he flunked out of Wimbledon pretty early and the French Open. So he's not going to be happy with those results, and he's going to step it up again as well, I think. The crazy thing about him is he's 20 years old still. Like, I'm 22, and I feel like I missed my shot. Well, I obviously missed my shot. I'm ass at tennis. I don't know if... No, that's not a secret, but I love it still, nonetheless. But it's crazy to me that Alexander Zverev's 20 years old, and I'm just excited to see what he's going to do at Cincinnati, Montreal, and the U.S. Open. So Djokovic being out isn't good for tennis, but it is better for tennis for him to take some time off and get back to his old ways, hopefully, like Federer and Nadal have been able to. But tennis is more fun to watch when people are playing their best, and it's definitely more fun to watch when Djokovic is playing and playing well. needless to say, I am unbelievably stoked because if you haven't heard, I'm going to Cincinnati in I think it's 2 weeks now. So I'm hopefully hearing back in the next couple days if I'm going to get a press pass or not. But either way, I'm going to be able to get some sweet videos of the top pros in the world playing, and I'm going to see my man Roger Federer play in the flesh, and it is going to be a dream come true. It's going to be insane. I don't even know how I'm going to react yet. I might cry. I might dance. I might sing. You never know, but it's going to be amazing, and the slice will be on the ground at Cincinnati, giving you real-time updates and the best coverage possible. So keep it locked. Thanks for watching, folks. This is The Slice. This is where I do tennis reviews, commentary, and predictions. So keep it locked here. Subscribe down below, and your dreams will be fulfilled.